Before the skyscrapers, before the railroads, before the 13 colonies, there were indeed civilizations here. Sophisticated, spiritual, and often forgotten, deep in the Ohio River Valley, ancient cultures once thrived. Builders of massive earthen mounds, complex cities, and astronomical observatories. This is the story of the lost civilizations of ancient Ohio, where earth and sky were one, and where the secrets of a forgotten America still lie buried beneath our feet. Over 13,000 years ago, Paleo-Indians walked the same soil that lines Ohio's rivers today. These were the first people to settle in what we now call the Buckeye State. They hunted mammoths and mastodons using stone-tipped spears carved from local flint, the same flint that would one day become Ohio's official gemstone. These early groups were nomadic, but they set the stage for something bigger, a cultural evolution that would span thousands of years. By 1000 BC, new ideas were taking root. Ceremonialism, long-distance trade and communication, mound building and a connection between the heavens and the earth, a sort of religion, if you will. From about 1000 BC to 200 BC, the Adena culture flourished. These people lived in small villages and left behind remarkable earthworks, dozens of burial mounds and ceremonial enclosures. The Adena are best known for their conical mounds, some of which still stand today. One of the most famous is Miamisburg Mound, rising 65 feet into the sky, making it one of the largest conical mounds in the United States. I do have a video where I visit this mound, so if you're interested, make sure to go check that out on the channel. The Adena weren't just mound builders. They were spiritual artisans, creating intricately carved pipes and pottery. They buried their dead with tools, beads, and other sacred symbols, hinting at a complex belief in the afterlife. And perhaps most importantly, they laid the foundation for those who would come after. Then came after, the Hopewell culture, an explosion of art, science, and sacred geometry between 200 BC and 500 AD. Unlike the Adena culture, the Hopewell were part of something greater. What archaeologists call the Hopewell interaction sphere, it was a trade and cultural network that stretched from the Great Lakes down to the Gulf of Mexico, which is now called the Gulf of America, of course. The Hopewell built enormous ceremonial centers like those found at Newark and Chillicothe. Using nothing more than wooden tools, baskets in their bare hands, they shaped the land into geometric precision. Circles, squares, and octagons spanning hundreds of acres. The most mysterious of all is the Octagon Earthworks in Newark, an ancient lunar observatory aligned with the 18.6-year cycle of the moon. Modern astronomers have confirmed it. The builders tracked celestial movements with astonishing accuracy. Artifacts found in these sites tells a story of long-distance exchange and some sort of ritual power. Obsidian from Yellowstone, copper from the Great Lakes, shells from the Gulf, and mica from the Carolinas. They were connected, they were advanced, and they are still misunderstood. Now, after the Hopewell culture vanished, why, we still don't really know why they vanished, another culture seemed to emerge, which is around 1000 AD. The Fort Ancient people. Contrary to their name, these were not the builders of Fort Ancient itself. That massive earthen complex predates them, but they did indeed adopt it, they used it, and added on to it. Fort Ancient isn't a fort in the military sense. It's a spiritual fortress, surrounded by 3 miles of earthen walls overlooking the Little Miami River. Archaeologists believe it was a ceremonial gathering place where people marked solstices, performed rituals, and came together in unity. The Fort Ancient people lived in villages, grew corn, grew beans and squash. They built wooden longhouses similar to those later seen among the Iroquois Confederacy. They crafted pottery with unique zigzag designs, and they developed tight-knit communities along the Ohio's waterways. They were the last of the Ohio's mound-building cultures, and perhaps the closest cultural ancestors to the Shawnee and other historic Native American tribes who would inhabit the region later on. Now, what happened to these ancient civilizations? Did they die out? Were they wiped away? Or did they simply transform and evolve into new cultures? The truth is probably layered. Environmental changes, resource depletion, intertribal conflict, and the pressures of European colonization all likely played roles. But cultural memory doesn't vanish, it simply evolves. The knowledge of the earthworks, of the solstice markers, of ceremonial gathering places, some of this wisdom lived on in oral traditions passed through the Shawnee, the Miami, and the Delaware tribes, and others. And yet much was lost even with this passing on, buried under centuries of farmland and forgotten by a nation too quick to overlook its very first engineers. Today, these sites still speak, if we're willing to listen. Places like the Serpent Mound, which stretches over 1,300 feet in length, still defies explanation. Who were the original builders? What exactly was its purpose? Was it a grave? Was it a calendar? Or was it a symbol of a religion? We may never know all of the answers with all 100% truth, but we can ask better questions to lead to that truth. The civilizations of ancient Ohio were not simple tribes in loincloths. They were architects, they were astronomers, artists, farmers, scientists, engineers. They lived in harmony with the land. They mapped the heavens and left behind structures that endure long before our memory fades. And long after our memory fades. And maybe, just maybe, they still have something to teach us. Now, if you found this journey into the ancient past fascinating, don't forget to subscribe, like, and explore more lost histories with me. Drop a comment below. What mystery do you want me to uncover next? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out my channel, because you'll probably enjoy the rest of my videos as they're pretty much correlated to this in some way, shape, or form. Make sure to hit that subscribe button as well if you enjoyed, as it helps the channel greatly, grow with the algorithm and all that cool stuff. Thanks again for watching. I love you.